The woman who searched for 15 years, and why she finally had to stop. A Wow! Signal standalone documentary. Runtime, 12 to 15 minutes. Tone, intimate, emotional, ultimately hopeful. Cold open, 0 o'clock to 0:45. Black screen. Slow fade in to static noise, radio telescope audio. Narrator, soft, contemplative. Dr. Amanda Reeves sits in her Nebraska classroom, teaching high school physics. 2 kids who barely look up from their phones. She's 43 years old, and every day, she drives past cornfields, parks in a dusty parking lot, and teaches Newton's laws to teenagers who will forget them by summer. Pause. But 15 years ago, she was searching for aliens. Sound, faint radio telescope scanning beeps, and the silence, the cosmic silence, nearly destroyed her. The woman who searched for 15 years, and why she had to stop. Act 1, the beginning 0:45 to 3:30. Chapter 1, How It Started. Visuals, MIT campus, young woman in lab coat, enthusiasm in her eyes. Narrator, Amanda Reeves didn't start as a cynic. She started as a believer. Fresh PhD from MIT. Thesis, Novel Detection Methods for Narrowband Extraterrestrial Signals. She was 28, brilliant, ambitious, and absolutely convinced that in her lifetime, we would find them. Sound optimistic, orchestral swell. She took a job at the SETI Institute. Not for the money. There was no money. $42,000 a year. In the Bay Area, where studio apartments cost $2,500 a month. But she didn't care. Because she was going to find aliens. Pause. Or so she thought. Year 1 was magic. Every signal felt like the one. Every anomaly in the data. Could be contact, could be proof, could be everything. She worked 70-hour weeks, analyzed thousands of signals, wrote detection algorithms, scanned regions of space that had never been studied. Her colleagues called her the optimist. She'd smile and say, "Someone has to be." By the end of year 1, she had found 247 interesting signals, 89 worth investigating, 12 genuinely anomalous, and exactly 0 that couldn't be explained. Satellites, radio interference, instrument glitches, natural cosmic phenomena. But not aliens. Never aliens. She told herself, next year, it'll happen next year. Year 2, nothing. Year 3, nothing. Year 4, a signal so promising she stayed up for 36 hours straight, running confirmations, checking variables, calling colleagues. It was a passing asteroid, reflecting radio waves from a Chinese weather satellite. Year 5, she stopped counting the false positives, started counting something else. The day she cried in her car. Before driving home, her friends asked, "Why don't you switch to something else? Galaxy formation, exoplanet atmospheres." She'd say, "Because what if I stop, and the signal comes the next day?" They stopped asking. Amanda kept a copy on her office wall. The Wow! Signal. 6EQUJ5. Jerry Emmons' red circle. His handwriting, wow. It was inspiration. Proof that signals existed, that detection was possible, that she wasn't wasting her time. But it was also torture. Because Jerry Emmons found it. On a routine Tuesday. After reviewing data. He wasn't doing anything special. Just paying attention. Amanda paid attention for 15 years. And found nothing. Was she not good enough? Not lucky enough? Not worthy of her own wow moment? Year 7, the first panic attack. 2 a.m., alone in the control room, staring at screens, data streaming in. Static, always static. And suddenly, her chest tightened. Couldn't breathe, hands shaking, the room spinning. She thought she was dying. But she wasn't dying, she was drowning. In silence, cosmic silence. The kind that screams louder than any sound. She went home, took a sick day, came back the next night. Because, what else was there? Here's what Amanda Reeves realized. In year 10, she was mourning, grieving, for something that never existed. Pause. Psychologists have a term for this. Ambiguous loss. Loss without closure. Loss without proof. You can't mourn what you never had. But you can't stop mourning it either. Amanda was mourning. First contact that never came. Signals that were never sent. Proof she would never find. A career that might be meaningless, she told her therapist. I feel like I'm waiting for a phone call from someone who doesn't exist. Using a phone that doesn't work, in a language I don't speak. Pause. Her therapist asked. Then why do you keep waiting? Amanda said. Because I don't know how to stop. 15 years since she started. 41 years old. No husband. No kids. No major publications. No groundbreaking discoveries. Just 15 years of silence. Sound. Clock ticking. One night, April 14, 2019, she was analyzing data from the Parkes telescope in Australia, a region near Chisholm, the same region as the WOW signal, and she saw it. A spike narrowband, 1420 megahertz. Strong, her heart stopped. She ran every test, every confirmation, checked the frequency. Perfect. Checked the bandwidth. Impossibly narrow. Checked the duration. 18 seconds. Checked for interference. None detected. For 6 hours. She believed. She actually believed. This was it. Her wow moment. Her vindication. Her 15 years. Finally worth it. She called her supervisor. Started writing the detection report. Prepared to make the announcement. That would change everything. And then, the Australian team called back. It was a satellite, a military communications satellite, malfunctioning, broadcasting on a restricted frequency. Not aliens. Never aliens. Amanda sat there, in the dark, alone, and something inside her. She wrote the email at 4 a.m., May 3, 2019. To her supervisor. Subject line. Resignation. Dear Dr. Chen, after 15 years with the SETI Institute, I am resigning effective immediately. This is not a decision I make lightly, but I can no longer sustain the emotional and psychological cost of this work. Every day I do not find a signal feels like failure, even though I know intellectually that this is how science works. That absence of evidence is still data. That patience is part of the process. But emotionally, I am mourning something I never had. And I have nothing to show for it. Not one confirmed detection. Not one moment of certainty. Just 15 years of silence. I need to stop listening before the silence destroys what's left of me. Thank you for the opportunity. I wish you and the team success, but I cannot be part of it anymore. Sincerely, Dr. Amanda Reeves. She hit send, packed her office, and walked out. At sunrise, for the last time, Amanda didn't tell her colleagues, didn't tell her family, barely told her therapist, but she had started having thoughts, dark thoughts, not suicidal, but close. Thoughts like, what's the point? What if I wasted my entire life? What if there's nothing out there? What if I'm searching for something that doesn't exist? What if I've been talking to myself in an empty room? For 15 years, she realized, the search had stopped being about science. It had become an obsession, an addiction. And like any addiction, it was killing her. Slowly, quietly, in the dark. The first morning, after quitting, was strange. She woke up, no alarm, no 6 a.m. start time, no overnight data to review. She made coffee, sat on her couch, and for the first time in 15 years, she didn't think about space. She cried, not from sadness, but from relief. The weight, the impossible, crushing weight of waiting for something that never came, was gone. She felt light, free, and terrified, because now she had to figure out who she was without the search. 6 months later, Amanda took a job teaching high school physics in a small town in Nebraska. Population 4,200, 1 stoplight, 3 churches, no observatories. Her colleagues at SETI thought she was insane. You have a PhD from MIT. You're working at a high school, she said. I need to do something where I can see results, where effort leads to outcome, where success isn't measured by signals that may never come. She teaches basic physics now. Force, motion, gravity, Newton's laws, things with answers, things you can prove, things that make sense. 3 months into teaching, a student asked, Ms. Reeves, what did you do before this? Amanda paused. She could have lied, said she worked at a university, did research, left it vague, but she didn't. I searched for aliens. For 15 years, I listened to space, waiting for signals, messages, proof we're not alone. The class went silent. Then, did you find anything? Amanda smiled. No, I didn't. And it nearly broke me. Another student. Then why did you do it for so long? Amanda thought for a moment. Because some questions are worth asking. Even if you never get an answer. Even if the asking hurts. Even if you have to stop before you find out. Amanda doesn't teach SETI. That's not in the curriculum. But once a year, she does a special lesson on the WOW signal. She shows them Jerry Emmons' printout, tells them the story, explains the science, and then she tells them her story. I searched for 15 years, analyzed millions of signals, worked nights, weekends, holidays, and I found nothing. Does that mean I failed? Maybe, or maybe. The search itself was the point, not the finding. The asking, not the answering. The wondering, not the knowing. I had to stop, because it was hurting me. But I don't regret it. I regret staying too long. I regret letting it consume me. But I don't regret listening. Last year, a student stayed after class. Quiet kid, barely spoke, named Marcus. He asked, Ms. Reeves, do you still wonder about the signals, about what's out there? Amanda looked at him. Every single day. I don't listen anymore, but I still wonder. I think I'll wonder until I die, and that's okay. You can wonder. Without searching, you can care. Without sacrificing everything. Marcus nodded, then said, I'm going to be an astronomer. Amanda cried, right there, in front of him, and said, thank you. But if you find it, name it after yourself. You earned it. By caring enough to try. Amanda still looks at the stars. Not through telescopes, not through data, just with her eyes. Standing in her backyard, in Nebraska, where the sky is dark and the Milky Way is visible. She doesn't listen anymore, but she sees, and she wonders. She told me, in an interview for this documentary, I don't regret searching. I regret not knowing when to stop. There's a difference between dedication and self-destruction. I crossed that line, and it almost killed me. But for people still searching, I hope they find it. I really do. I hope they get their wow moment, and I hope they're kinder to themselves than I was. Because the universe doesn't owe us answers. And sometimes, the bravest thing is knowing when to let go. 6 months ago, Amanda received a letter from Dr. Jill Tarter, the astronomer who inspired the movie Contact, who searched for 40 years, who never found anything either. Dr. Tarter's voice, warm, understanding. Dear Amanda, I heard you left SETI, and I want you to know, you're not a failure, you're not weak, you're human. This work asks the impossible. Patience without promise, hope without evidence, dedication without reward. Some of us can sustain that, some can't. Neither is wrong. You gave 15 years. That's more than most people give to anything. You listened when the universe was silent. That takes courage. I hope you find peace. And I hope you know, your search mattered. Even if you never found what you were looking for, you proved we can listen. And that's everything. With respect and admiration, Jill. Amanda keeps that letter on her refrigerator, next to her students' drawings and photos of her nieces. A reminder, she is more than the search. She always was. Dr. Amanda Reeves is 43 years old. She teaches physics to high school students. She drives a 2015 Honda Civic. She has a cat named Kepler. She goes to bed at 10 p.m. and she doesn't search for aliens anymore. But sometimes, on clear nights, she stands in her backyard, looks up, and whispers, I hope you're out there. I really do. But I can't wait anymore. I have to live. And that is not failure. That is survival. That is wisdom. That is knowing when to stop listening and start living. For everyone who has ever searched for something they never found, you are not alone, and you are not a failure. Sometimes the bravest thing is knowing when to let go.